Yep. So Gen Con fires its entire staff of woke sci-fi and fantasy writers from its writers symposium.
Yeah.
That came as kind of a shock to me, actually.
Yeah, Gen Con is I've been saying this for a couple of years now. They went all in on the DEI leftist BS, and I said I'm going to have nothing to do with this. And that's even as game companies were starting to go, we're not interested in this anymore. We're done. We're out.
It's too much. It's like it's been. The trouble is, you give them an inch, they go a mile, and they've been going miles for a while. And I think we're just finally getting fed up.
Yeah.
Gen Con has been known for its woke activism over the last decade, miring the convention on identity politics when it used to be known as the greatest table gaming convention in existence. Nothing has been worse in this regard than the Gen Con Writers Symposium. This writing track was supposed to highlight great writers in science fiction and fantasy, but instead devolved into SFWA's political arm. After several years of failure, Gen Con fired every staff member from the symposium to get a clean slate for the following year. We know some writers. You're having one on your stream this Friday. Maybe they should submit their applications for this. I don't know. The Gen Con Writer Symposium is a veritable who's who of SFWA clout chasers.
I can tell you this. When I have Chad on, he's going to be one of the things we're going to talk about is why self-publish, and I'm sure this is going to come up a little.
Yeah, we should bring this up. Yeah. Mostly comprised of failed authors who use identity politics to get small publishing deals, but rarely sell.
Oh, wait a minute. I shouldn't just assume that people know what Gen Con is. Jesse, thank you for bringing that up. Gen Con,
role-playing convention, right?
Yes, it started out as a convention specifically revolving around Dungeons and Dragons, and it used to be up in Wisconsin. It was started by people in Gary Gygax's sphere, and then Dungeons and Dragons got broken up and stuff, and it ended up moving to Indianapolis, and it started bringing in all the other gaming companies, West End and White Wolf and Modifius and so forth, and a lot of those bigger companies are starting to bow out and say, we don't. Yeah, back when it was TSR, right? Now it's Wizards of the Coast, which we've talked about. That's a whole other ball of wax. But,
we haven't talked about them for a bit. I should see what they're up to.
Should we really be careful here that Wizards doesn't send the Pinkertons after us for talking about them and Gen Con? But I digress.
I don't joke, man.
But the big companies have pulled out of Gen Con. Less and less people are going to Gen Con. In fact, I've got a buddy who goes to it, but I get the impression that he's on the momentum because he's been doing it for so many years. It's just what he does with a certain gaming group.
Yeah.
And this is their annual, get together or whatever. And it's like, it'll be interesting to see how long he keeps doing that. In fact, I'll talk to him about it on Wednesday. But, yeah. So that's what Gen Con is.
Right. So we've explained. And this was the writers' arm of Gen Con, which I guess have been taken over by some fanatics, it sounds like.
Yeah, this fantasy, this writers' symposium for Gen Con is kind of analogous to the Reimagine Tomorrow over at Disney.
Yes, I remember that. I wonder what's going on with that right now. Here one would see the likes of Kat Rambo, former SFWA president, and Monica Valentinelli, a woman who publicly attacked Odyssey Con and bowed out because she didn't want to be associated with a quote-unquote known sexual harasser, which she accused a man with no evidence. Patrick S. Tomlinson, a failed author and mentally ill tweeter who infamously sued an online forum because they made fun of him, is also a guest year after year. Looking at the lineup, woke activism and clout within SWFA are the only qualifiers for being featured guests and getting speaking gigs at the convention. This year, so basically became not about science fiction and fantasy writing. It just became about politics. That's what it sounds like.
David Pensack is asking, wasn't Gen Con where Jeremy from the quartering was attacked? I don't know.
It might have
I wouldn't
been.
be surprised.
It might have been. Yeah, that was the. Oh, I remember when he did a video about that, and the judge, he told the guys, just let the courts handle it. We'll take care of it. I did not like the judges resolving on that. Another con I know nothing about. Okay. But yeah, I guess.
Well, now you're not missing out on anything. Netter and I went to Gen Con one year because I had always wanted to go, and we had a great time. Met some guys there that I ended up. One of them was local, so we ended up gaming with him. It was kind of cool. Netter actually played a game of Call of Cthulhu. I had played it before, she never had, and it was a lot of fun. But we would never go back now.
Yeah. Last on the article, Emily Bell, EDEE Bell, was the one who leaked the news on her Facebook, saying the GCWS committee was informed tonight at the very end of the meeting with Gen Con with no reason given that while our show went really well, no people on the 2024 committee will be invited back next year. I will be requesting a meeting with Mr. Atkinson. At minimum, I would like a reason given for our dismissal, because without a reason, I will only have my own documentation to show regarding how Gen Con addressed issues of both race and disability. That sounds like blackmail.
Yeah, strong arming. She's trying to coerce them and say, if you don't give us our job back, we will say that you're being racist and istophobe and you don't care about this. And what they should do is, first, what any employer would do, what HR would always recommend, you don't have to give a reason. We've decided to go a different way. That's all. As soon as you admit that you've done it because of any particular reason, that opens you up to lawsuits. So you just say, we've decided to open it up to other people, to go another route, maybe completely not even do this particular panel, which I think would be just fine. Just make it about the games, not make it about, anything else.
We're going here to have fun, to escape. When you're injecting modern politics, the escapism is no longer escapist.
That's the other thing
now
to
being
point
mired
out.
in the regular. I don't care what politics it is.
The old time gamers would
go to Gen Con for.
There was two things you were going to Gen Con for. One was to buy stuff, either the games or the miniatures or the terrain or whatever, which has become less and less at all cons. The dealer's room has become very just looky-loos now, because you could buy everything online these days, especially when it comes to terrain. You can 3D print stuff. The other thing you were going for is to play games. You would go and register to get into a pickup game of Dungeons and Dragons, or test play the new game that's coming out next year or whatever. That's what you were doing. This whole idea of panels, I always thought was stupid to begin with. Now they're just proving how stupid it is.
This bullshit is a good way to wreck a convention. I saw this crap with a con chair a few years ago announcing conservatives were not wanted or welcome. That chair is removed by the board.
Yeah, he's talking about a local con. I know exactly which one he's talking about.